What's up, guys? Hope you're doing well so far. Let's cut straight to the chase. You are watching Bucky Reviews Star Trek Deep Space Nine, the series in which I go through and rate every episode of DS9 on a scale from 1 to 10 for its objective quality, at least as close as I can as a human, and its entertainment value, or its enjoyability. And today we have a Season 1, Episode 2, Past Prologue. So I'll go ahead and open with this. This is a watchable episode. It's better than Emissary, the pilot, I would say, but it's not quite as entertaining. It's a little bit boring. Now, don't click off yet, because I still have plenty of reasoning to talk about why I think these things are true. So I'll get to that after I roll the intro. So yeah, see you there. Alright, so Past Prologue, Season 1, Episode 2. They don't have a lot to say here. This is probably the least notes that I have on any episode so far. I've taken notes, I've watched the first 10 episodes of Season 1, and I don't really have much to talk about here. It'll probably be a lot shorter than Emissary, because I only have like a fourth of the notes here. But I'll go ahead and say, yeah, it's alright, it's watchable, it's a bit boring, doesn't really do a whole lot for me. I didn't write much in the first place, so that should say enough. I didn't have much to talk about. But the general plot synopsis is there's this Bajoran rebel that Kira knew from the Cardassian occupation, and he comes aboard and tries to convince Kira to kind of get the Federation away from Bajor and the wormhole. So right after the pilot, we get immediately a kind of episode that DS9 is kind of known for, at least in my opinion. Is kind of like a political thriller with some interpersonal stuff mixed in. Kind of an episode that you wouldn't see a whole lot of on TNG. And I think this is a good place to start for the second episode of the show, kind of setting up this kind of theme of the Federation not being very welcome on the station and in around Bajor and the wormhole and stuff. That was implied already a lot in Emissary, but here we get to see it as like a major plot. Now, this episode has a plot, which is better than what I could say for Emissary, so that's why I think it is better, because it has a plot to work with, and it does have some decent character moments, and it also introduces plain simple Garrick, the tailor, who is a fan favorite character, a great character later on especially. I didn't realize that he was introduced so early. So yeah, he's here. In an opening scene, we get Bashir and Garrick. Now, this show loves to use Bashir, at least at first. Once again, I've rewatched the first 10 so far. This show loves to use Bashir for its openings. Very much so. And I don't really know why. Like, he gets used in a lot of cold opens, in like character interactions with like Dax or O'Brien, and then Garrick here, and isn't really relevant a whole lot later on. So yeah, he's here with Garrick, and it's actually a pretty well done scene. It's well acted, it well establishes Garrick's character, and Bashir as well. So we have pretty good acting here. We have Andrew Robinson as Garrick. He's super like saccharine, uncomfortably nice towards Bashir in a very mysterious way that makes you think that he's kind of, too good to be true, like he's hiding something. But at the same time, it's that question of, is he just genuinely seeking connection? Is he genuinely just that uncomfortable of a guy? Or is he, a Cardassian spy, for example? That's kind of his entire character, right? And then we have Alexander Siddig as Bashir, who I don't think Bashir is a great character here, or for most of the first season and beyond, to be honest. He gets pretty good later on, but he's not great here. But Siddig does his job well at doing what the writers want Bashir to be. Very boyish, kind of has this like hero complex. He goes onto the ops floor and is like, "Hey guys, I just talked to a Cardassian spy, like that Cardassian spy," because he wants to be a hero or whatnot. And Siddig plays that role pretty well. Immature, boyish, needs attention, these kinds of things, right? So I can't fault him for that. But the standout here really is Garrick, with this Willy Wonka turned Jeffrey Dahmer, a very like uncomfortably kind Garrick that he plays. And then Uh, the other parts of the episode are like okay-ish. The plot doesn't do a whole lot for me, even though it exists. It's good. It's a decent premise, like I said. We get kind of this important topic of Bajor versus the Federation, and this is something that's pretty important in the first season, especially. Bajor eventually warms up to the Federation. The characters like Odo and Kira warm up to Cisco and the crew being there, and they start to work together. But these kind of interpersonal conflicts are things that TNG and TOS didn't really do, especially not right out the gate. We have developing character dynamics both as individuals and as, well, like we have inter and intra character, like developments, right? Which I think is pretty important, and I like that a lot about DS9. Kira is pretty good here. Obviously, her character changes and develops, so she's struggling here because she thinks that the Federation can help Bajor, but she also wants to help her ex underground teammate in the Cardassian occupation. Now, the actor here, Nordling, he's pretty good. He acts as Tana Loss pretty good, the Bajoran man who wants to kind of drive the Federation out of the wormhole and of Bajor. And we get this kind of this subplot with, well, it's not really a subplot because it's tied together pretty well with Garrick and the Dura sisters, who make it a cameo here for no real good reason. They're kind of just here. They don't really do a whole lot. And essentially, we follow Bashir and Garrick as they uncover through the Dura sisters that Tana wants to build a bomb, essentially, to destroy the wormhole. So when we get this reveal that Tana is a bad person, once again, it's well acted by Nordling, but the reveal is just like, it's all right. It's a bit awkward. The bad part for me is that he becomes incredibly incompetent after the reveal. He seems pretty put together prior to the reveal, but post the betrayal reveal, he ends up with Kira on one of the runabouts, I believe, and he has the bomb, and he's like, I'm gonna put the bomb in the wormhole and close the wormhole for good, and then it'll drive out other governments in the Federation away from Bajor, so that we can finally have freedom from any kind of government. We'll have Bajor for Bajor. Obviously, Kira believes that they kind of might need the Federation's help to help rebuild, but he does not believe this. He wants them gone. And he becomes pretty stupid in these scenes. I feel like he's not competent enough to feel threatening as a villain, so it kind of falls off at that point. I think the first half is pretty alright. I like seeing Garrick and Bashir interact. Bashir's uncertain as to what to do. He's inexperienced. Garrick's trying to tell him hints like, you should come buy a suit at 5 o'clock, wink wink, and Bashir just being like, what? I think that's a pretty good dynamic. Obviously, Bashir and Garrick are an iconic pairing for this show. And once again, Kira is alright here. Nana Visitor is pretty alright. Cisco as Avery, backwards. Avery Brooks as Cisco doesn't do a whole lot here, shockingly. After him being established as the lead in the first episode, he's kind of just pretty much absent here. No O'Brien or Dax or Odo to really speak of. But Odo does have one scene that is very good, in which he speaks to Kira about kind of making up her mind on what to do here, about like who to help, like how to choose between her allegiances between the Federation or like what she believes to be the best for Bajor and her old war buddy, essentially. So yeah, I think Odo is great. Kira is a very unique character for Trek. Very just rebellious, very violent character, very stubborn character that is pretty refreshing to see, actually. She's one of the stronger characters in the end. A bit of a bumpy start here, but this is a pretty solid episode for her, I'd say. So yeah, I think that this episode services itself well to the kind of episode that DS9 is known for, right? Like kind of darker, more political, like that kind of episode where it's like more like political thriller than like sci-fi. Oh, there's a brand new planet, let's explore here. That's the way I see it, at least. I think it lends itself well to these kinds of episodes because of the fact that it's on a space station. So the politics come to them, and they kind of have to resolve it, and they can't just pack up and leave, essentially. So the space station kind of like requires these kinds of these episodes to occur because of its proximity to the wormhole and Bajor and whatnot. So I appreciate that. I like it a lot. So yeah, all in all, this episode is a decent display of the acting and the cast and the sort of episodes that we can expect to see from DS9. But it's a plot that's a little simultaneously it's contrived, complicated, but also a bit too convenient and a bit too safe to store very high. It doesn't tie in a lot of good messaging or themes or characters like development very well. We see that Kira wants to choose to work with the Federation over destroying the wormhole, so that's just something that we do see kind of develop. But besides that, we don't really see a whole lot. The plot is kind of a plot just to be a plot. Obviously, it does some things. It does more than future plots do in Season 1, so it does have some impact and some relevance for the overarching characters and story, but not a whole lot. And it kind of, is a slog to get through sometimes because the plot is kind of eh. And once again, it's very convenient. Everything kind of just falls together very well. I never feel like we're actually in danger or that Tana Loss is actually a threat because, once again, he becomes kind of a buffoon after he becomes evil or is revealed to be evil. So it's like, yeah, I don't ever feel the tension that a plot like this should give off. So yeah, with that in mind, it's not a bad episode. It's gonna get a 4 like Emissary. It's watchable. It's gonna be a better 4. So this is now the new number 1, and then Emissary falls to number 2, the worst slot. I don't see it maintaining its position as number 1 for that long, but it's watchable. A watchable 4 out of 10. And then for enjoyability, I'm gonna give it a 3, which is far worse than Emissary. I think the Emissary is kind of boring at times with the extended prophets scenes, but this one is just like boring all the way through. So it's going to get 3 out of 10 for enjoyability. Now, next up, we have A Man Alone, Season 1, Episode 3. I have a lot to talk about with that one, so stay tuned for that episode in the future. But yeah, with that in mind, thanks for watching the video. If you made it this far in the video, you must like the video, so why not like the video? And also, shout out to my supporters on the main channel, Rosie Pixels, Frisky, 512, Blake the Snake, A Herman24, Glee, Foxworthy, the amazing Fruit Salads, you remember, Calm Luke, and our insane Crazy Juice, you remember, Tybee. With that in mind, I love you guys. Be safe, be smart, don't be stupid, and have a great rest of your day.